that you tapped on, bringing the center to the periphery. Like, what made you think of that during the talk? That was.
Well, this is a subject I think about a lot. It's nothing from the talk. It's. I'm always thinking about why I went to London to study art, and why. Yeah, so why would that make me a more interesting artist than an artist who didn't study abroad? You know, or, these kind of questions are not new for me.
But during the talk,
what are some of the ways that you've worked through that in the past?
By really cutting off things which would probably help me become more successful. Like I went to my master's program, and before I got there.
Hey.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
You just have to. These are my friends.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, my neighbors.
Sorry. I'm sitting over there. So.
I'm going to. Can I call you like an hour?
Okay, cool.
Are you here?
Yeah, I'm sitting there. Okay.
So you cut off.
He's my neighbor.
Okay.
I cut off. I went to the Royal Academy and I decided I wasn't going to speak about culture, I wasn't going to speak about identity, I wasn't going to speak about feminism, and I wasn't going to speak about certain things. I was mute for 3 years because I had nothing else to say. Because my work had all of this in it, but I didn't want the interest in my work to be about where I was from or what I was doing. So it was maybe like a really stupid thing, but it was, I don't know, it's just something I felt I had to do there.
What did you learn by doing that? Do you think
it wasn't helpful. It didn't help to deny that, these things were real and that I was there to, I happened to be from somewhere else studying in London, but my saying no or just put me in another box of being stupid or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So then to what Mayssa was probably about to ask is, how did you, like that kind of process and introspection and personal investigation that you had done, how did that kind of, the talk that was had earlier with the curator within the Gwangju Biennial, how did that make you react to something that did seem more academic and not as self-investigative, perhaps?
I think we talk about no hierarchies. This is not a new concept. I think it's since postmodernism, that's the one academic subject that's kind of being perpetuated under different names. That, we don't have this polar oppositions, but we're in this lattice where nodes exist. Yes, of course it's true, but I don't know how that pushes anything. I don't want to be in a space where everything's kind of okay and we get entangled. I don't think that's quite what she was saying, but because definitely, like we were talking about in the car, I think now instead of having these cultural hierarchies, it's a financial hierarchy, and that's what's stemming things. So it's not simple, but yeah. So right now it feels like the old. She said we weren't allowed to use words like old center and old periphery, but she did use them quite frequently. It just seems to reverse a bit on itself, which is what she was saying. To be fair to her, she was saying, but she doesn't want that. She doesn't want there to be like instead of north-south, she doesn't want south-north, and maybe. But I don't see what she's saying is the opposite really, because it's even a step still backwards of this kind of Homi Baba gray space like we were talking about. What do you think?
I thought it was fascinating to be, similar to what I said in the car, like at a talk within the largest art fair in the region and have someone talk about ignoring structure, and working outside of the structure, because to your point, I think it has become much more of a financial system.
Yeah, and about how many VIP cards are available here.
Right.
Sorry, I don't know if that relates to what she was saying, but there's so many different hierarchies set up of where you fit in according to your financial or what you give to the fair or what you don't give to the fair. Aren't there 6 different types of VIPs?
And how do you have maybe a more kind of nuanced reaction perhaps to that kind of structure, given that exists in the world, and that we're not academics who targeting, a salary in a certain way, but we have to work within that structure. And so, again, what we were talking about earlier,
do you think sincerity is too naive as well to think about wanting to be sincere in this?
Yeah.
I also feel, because we touched about insincere and sincere as well, about this idea of not having a hierarchy or naive, and I don't want to be upset about it either. Right. I don't want to get like, oh my god, there's no possibility, and it's not true. Like we said in the car, like we were talking about how are the clever ways to still keep your voice in the middle of all of this.
What about you? How have you kept your voice to bring it?
I have a very codified process because I make these diaries. So I have my own process, which is my own personal key. I think it does get lost when I'm not sure what people take from it. But I found my own language to deal with it. It's very censored. Like even sometimes words are written and cancelled out. It's maybe a chicken's way to do it. I don't know. But I found my way. It was quite. I did this show in Oman where it was in a castle, and my work has some eroticism in it, and it's the kind of eroticism that if you look at it, you're like, wait, I didn't just see that, right? Like it's not what I think it is. And nobody will actually voice, is that really like, something sexual, because you wouldn't want anyone to think you're first. And I think maybe that's how I get away with it, because you wouldn't want to admit that's what it is.
So you acknowledge the social dynamics that exist, and you're almost playing on them in some way.
I don't even know if I'm acknowledging, or if it's so ingrained in me, having been brought up here, that I'm not explicit. So, I'm not trying, it's not pornographic at all, but there's definitely a seduction and a sensuality present.